Don't blame me. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So Shabbat Shalom to those who are listening via YouTube, who are going to listen to via YouTube later on. Shabbat Shalom to the elder Ak, Yahudah. Shalom to the younger Ak, Ephraim. Shalom to the former stranger, the former Gar, the former Gentile, the former nation, the former Goyim, who is no longer a stranger, who is no longer a Gar, who is no longer a foreigner or a Gentile or a nation or Goyim, but now having been engrafted into the Bayith, which is to say the house of Yasha'al, through Hanatsah, which means the branch, who is Yahusha, HaMashiach, by the receiving of his Ruach, by the receiving of the Ruach HaKadosh, who is the Ruach of sonship, and whereby having receiving the Ruach of adoption, the Ruach of sonship, and no longer being considered a stranger, but a fellow citizen. And now being a fellow citizen, being partakers, fellow partakers of the same everlasting covenant and promise and inheritance that was given to Yasha'al and to Yasha'al alone. Shabbat Shalom to you worldwide, to all 12 tribes, wherever your feet touch the soil, to the elder Ak Yahudah, to the younger Ak Ephraim, to the former stranger who has been engrafted into us. Shabbat Shalom to you worldwide, wherever your feet touch the soil. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Mishpaka, we continue the journey of searching for the ancient path. We continue the journey. Now this is part 11. So I'm not going to sit here and do a recap of the previous 10 teachings on the ancient path. If you're listening via YouTube, you're going to have to go back and listen to the previous 10 parts. And so I'm not going to do a recap today. I'm not. I'm not going to do a recap of the previous 10 discussions and teachings on the ancient path, Barak Yahuwah. So today, continuing on this walk, continuing searching for the ancient path and looking at the ancient path via the example of our righteous father Abraham, we're going to continue that walk today, Barak Yahuwah. And if you're taking notes, this is Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 11, Abraham. Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 11, Abraham. But as we have been embarking upon this journey, Yahuwah has revealed to us that there are certain characteristics that should be requisite of somebody walking the ancient path. There should be certain fruit. There should be certain characteristics that are associated with and attached to someone who is walking the ancient path. Indeed, if you can receive it, the fruit of the Ruach is the characteristics of someone walking the ancient path. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The fruit of the Ruach is the characteristic of someone walking the ancient path. And if you can receive it, everything that we have been talking about, we should be able to attach it to the fruit of the Ruach. We should be able to attach it to the fruit of the Ruach. Indeed, all of our ancient fathers, all of them displayed the fruit of the Ruach. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. All of them operated within the Ruach. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Because as Abba has been trying to teach us, we cannot walk this ancient path. We cannot. It is impossible to walk this ancient path outside of the leading and the guiding of the Ruach HaKadosh. It is impossible to walk this ancient path without having the indwelling of the Ruach HaKadosh and without having the Torah having been written upon our hearts, whereby circumcising our hearts, and whereby writing the Torah upon our hearts, and whereby giving us a love for Torah and a willingness to obey it. It's impossible. We cannot walk this ancient path without having the indwelling of the Ruach HaKadosh. We cannot. I pray that after watching the first 10 teachings of this, you clearly understand that now, that we cannot walk this ancient path without having the ancient path, listen, living inside of us. Because if you have been listening to the previous 10 teachings, we understand what and who the ancient path is. And unless we have the ancient path living inside of us, who is the Torah, who is Yahuwah, who is the Ruach HaKadosh, we cannot walk this ancient path. And so before beginning part 11, let's just look at a brief recap of what are some of the characteristics, or should I say, what are some of the benefits, not only the characteristics, but what are some of the benefits that should follow someone who is walking the ancient path. Let's take a brief look at that, and let's do a brief recap of it. Turn Mishpaka to Leviticus chapter 26. Leviticus chapter 26. Uikra chapter 26. Leviticus, or Uikra. Leviticus chapter 26. And we're only going to read here verses 1 through 8. Uikra, Leviticus chapter 26. And we're only going to read verses 1 through 8. Beginning at verse 1, it reads, "Do not make idols for yourselves, and do not put up or erect a carved image or a pillar for yourselves." Now, first off, you need to understand that these instructions, that this is the ancient path. This is the ancient path. When he says here, do not make idols for yourselves, you better understand that this is the ancient path. Yes, it is. This is the narrow path here. This instruction is the narrow path. Do not make idols for yourselves, and do not put up a carved image or a pillar for yourselves. It does not have to be a carved image. No, it doesn't. You can have a carved image in your heart. Yes, you do. Yes, you can. Because our idols, it begins in the heart. Our carved images begin in the heart. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Your children can be an idol. Your vehicle can be an idol. Your house can be an idol. You can be your own idol. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But we can set up idols in our hearts. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be an Asherah pole. No, it doesn't necessarily have to be an obelisk. No, it doesn't. You can be your own idol. You can be your very own idol of yourself. Yes, you can. Try operating in pride. Try being puffed up with your so-called knowledge. Yes, you can. You can be your own idol. Because some people in this season are worshiping knowledge. Yes, they are. They are placing knowledge above Yahuwah. They are indeed seeking knowledge above seeking the ancient path. They are seeking knowledge above relationship with Yahuwah. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And this has become their idol. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. And do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it. This is the ancient path. For I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Guard my Shabbat. Guard my Shabbat, which is plural for Shabbat. Guard my Shabbat and reverence my Kadosh place. Oh, this is the ancient path. This is the ancient path. If you don't reverence him, if you don't reverence this Kadosh place, then you're not in the ancient path. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because if you reverence, if you reverence his Shabbat and you don't profane them, and you reverence his Kadosh place, you are reverencing him. What does that mean? That in turn means that you are going to, at all costs, guard this ancient path. You're not going to turn to the right or to the left of it, because you reverence him, you love him, and you are going to reverence his instructions, and you're not going to turn to the right or to the left of them, and you're going to remain in this narrow way. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If you reverence him, you will. If you reverence his Shabbat, you will. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. I am Yahuwah. If you listen now, listen here. Listen, if you walk, yalak, if you walk in my laws, what do you think he's talking about? He's talking about the ancient path. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is talking about the ancient path. Yalak, when he says in Yahu, the 6th chapter, around the 16th verse, search for the ancient paths and walk in them. Yalak, and walk in it and walk in them. This is what he's talking about here. He's talking about the ancient path. If you walk, yalak, in my laws. What is his laws? What is his Torah? The ancient path. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If you walk in my laws, my statutes, and guard my commands, and shall do them, what's going to happen? Then, here's the benefits. Here's the benefits that should accompany those who are walking the ancient path. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I didn't say it. The text said it. Yes, it does. Right here. It says it. Then I shall give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its crops, and the trees of the field yield their fruit. Yes. Try walking the ancient path and see if whether or not he will not withhold any good matter from you. Watch and see. Listen. And your threshing shall last to the time of the grape harvest, and the grape harvest shall last to the time of sowing. Yes, this is benefits of walking this ancient path. Try it and see. Try it and see. And you shall eat your bread until you have enough. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Try walking this ancient path, and shall dwell in your land safely. Now we understand that our ancestors did not walk the ancient path. They transgressed it and turned to the right and to the left of it. And we understand that this is why we're in the land of our captivity now. But here in the land of our captivity, he is calling out to us, as written in the Torah, that we would remember him in the land of our captivity, that we would remember the ancient path in the land of our captivity. And then he would do what? He would remember his covenant with us. He said it. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Go away, Siri. I didn't call you. Yes, he did. He said it. And so now, in the land of our captivity, in accordance with prophecy, in accordance with Nabuah, we are remembering. We are remembering the ancient path. Why do you think that he's been teaching us this for the past 3 or 4 weeks? We're now remembering. We're now remembering the ancient path. And guess what? Now he is remembering his covenant with us, provided that you're walking this ancient path. Oh, watch and see what Yahuwah is getting ready to do for his people, for those who are walking this ancient path. Watch and see. There are benefits that are associated with walking this ancient path. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. Wait and see. Wait and see. And not only that, he wants to do what? He wants to keep a remnant who are walking this ancient path, who have returned to the ancient ways. He wants to keep us from the hour of trial. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I pray you understand that he wants to keep us from the hour of trial. Listen here. And I shall give you shalom in the land, and you shall lie down, and no one make you afraid. And no one make you afraid. And I shall clear the land of evil beasts, and not let the sword go through your land. If you don't believe that this is a benefit, then you're in the wrong place. If you do not believe that this is a benefit of walking this ancient path, then you're in the wrong place. Because if you don't have trust, then you're not on the ancient path. All of our ancient fathers had trust. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. This is prerequisite of walking this ancient path. Oh, I wish somebody would turn now to Galatians chapter 5 and read verses 22 through 23 before I go on. So somebody read that for me. Please. Somebody read that for me. Galatians 5, 22 and 23. Come on, Miss Parker, hurry up.
after he brought forth Methuselah.
Galatians 5. Chapter 20, verses 22 and 23.
YAHUAH. 22 and 23. But the fruit of the Ruach
Come on.
is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness.
What?
Trustworthiness.
Trust what?
Trust YAHUAH worthiness.
Say it again. Trust what?
Trustworthiness.
Okay, I want you to say it one more time in case they didn't hear you.
Trustworthiness.
Barak Yahuwah. All of our ancestors had trust. This is a prerequisite of walking this ancient path. Indeed, Abba's already told you that you cannot walk it without having the indwelling of the Ruach HaKadosh. And so if you are walking in the Ruach HaKadosh, then you are to what? You also are to walk in the fruit of the Ruach. And one of those characteristics of walking in the fruit of the Ruach, of having the fruit of the Ruach, is what? Trust. Trustworthiness. Keep on, brother. Keep reading.
Trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no...
Oh, I wish somebody could understand that Abraham had all of this. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All of our ancient fathers had this. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And if you and I don't operate in like manner, see, he's giving us an example. He's given us a blueprint. See, we're not walking blindly. He's given us a blueprint to compare ourselves to. Oh, my ancient fathers walk like this. Now, if you are walking contrarily to that, then guess what? You're not on the ancient path. No, you're not. No, you're not. Listen here. Listen, I want to read this. And I shall clear the land of evil beasts, and not let the sword go through your land. And you shall pursue your enemies. Listen. And you shall pursue your enemies. Yes, this is the ancient path. This is a benefit of someone walking the ancient path. And you shall pursue your enemies, and they shall fall by the sword before you. Listen here. And 5 of you shall pursue 100. I pray that you understand that this is literal. I pray that you do. And 100 of you pursue 10,000. I pray that you understand that this is literal. If you don't understand that this is literal, let me remind you of our ancient father Abraham, who took 318 men and they smote 800,000 men. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. This is a benefit of walking this ancient path. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And 5 of you shall pursue 100, and 100 of you pursue 10,000. And your enemies shall fall by the sword before you. Oh, there are great benefits to walking this ancient path. There are great benefits to walking this ancient path. Let's continue on this recap, this brief recap of looking at some of the things that should, some of the benefits that should follow us, and some of the characteristics that one should have that walks this ancient path. Let's look at Deuteronomy now. Dabarim, the 28th chapter. Let's look at Dabarim, Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Let's look at this real briefly. Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you.
Let's look at this real briefly. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Deuteronomy, Dabarim, chapter 28. And we're only going to read verses 1 through 14. You see, the church, they like to quote Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 through 14, but they're far from this ancient path. They are far from it. These benefits are requisite of one who is walking the ancient path. And so if you're not receiving these benefits, now you should do a compass check. Yes, you should. Yes, you should. You need to calibrate your compass in order to confirm and verify if whether or not you are truly walking this ancient path. Because if you are, then these benefits ought to follow you. Yes, they should. Yes, they should. I pray. Listen, let me stop right here before I read it. I want someone to speak up right now. If you do not believe, that these benefits should follow one who is walking the ancient path. Go ahead and speak up right now. We won't feel any differently about you. Go ahead and speak up right now. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. You've already been long-winded and took me overtime now, so we got plenty of time. Barak Yahuwah. Come on, I'll wait. I'll wait. No one? Barak Yahuwah. Let's read Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 through 14. And it shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahuwah. In other words, if you diligently walk this ancient path. Because if you obey his voice and turn neither to the right or to the left of his voice, that means that you are on the ancient path. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. That means that you are on the ancient path of Torah. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Listen. And it shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahuwah, your Elohim, to guard to do. Are you following along with me? Are y'all following along? Have y'all turned to Deuteronomy 28? Are y'all following along?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, then listen.
Yes.
Does it say all here, a sum, a part, a half, or a fraction of? Somebody, what does it say?
All.
Oh.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It doesn't say a fraction of.
No.
Come on, talk back to me. It doesn't say half of it.
No, it doesn't.
A part of it.
No, it doesn't.
No.
What does it say?
All.
All. To guard to do all his commands, which I command you today, that Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall place you high above all nations. In other words, if you do not turn from this path, from this narrow path, if you do not turn to the right or to the left, if you're careful to guard to do all of his commands, which I command you today, that Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall place you high above all nations of the earth. Brother Malak, I think somebody don't believe me. Somebody don't believe me. Turn again to Revelation chapter 14. Somebody please. Turn to Revelation chapter 14. I shall place you high above all nations of the earth. Somebody turn to Revelation 14, please. Please. And read until I tell you to stop.
I looked and saw a lamb on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written upon their foreheads. I heard a voice out of Shamayim, like the voice of many waters, like the voice of a loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. And they sang a renewed song before the throne and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one was able to learn that song except the 144,000.
Okay, before you go on, where were they found at the beginning? Where were they at?
Standing on Mount Zion.
Mount Zion, right? It's not Mount Zion high.
Yes.
Yes, it is. That's the mountain of Yahuwah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I do not believe it's in the place that the Jewish people tells us that it's at. I believe it's in the middle of the earth. And I believe that it's very high. It's very high. Would that not be high above all nations?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Keep reading.
They are those who are not defiled with women.
Come on.
But they are maidens. They are those following the Lamb wherever he leads.
They did what?
Follow the Lamb wherever he leads them.
Wherever he leads them. They follow the voice of Yahuwah. It begins here. If you diligently obey the voice of Yahuwah, your Elohim, it will do what? He will place you high above all nations. And so these 144,000, this remnant, are those who have come back to this ancient path, who are obeying the voice of Yahuwah, who are obeying the voice of the Lamb, and are not turning to the right or to the left of it. And what does it say there? That they are first fruit, that they are found on Mount Zion, that they have been redeemed from the earth, as our Ak is going to continue reading here, that they have been placed high above all nations, that they are a first fruit, a precursor of Yahshua being restored and being placed high above all nations. Keep reading.
They were redeemed from among men, being first fruit to Elohim and to the Lamb.
Barak Yahuwah.
And in their mouth was found no falsehood.
No falsehood.
they are blameless before the throne of Elohim.
Barak Yahuwah. Stop right there. In their mouth was found no falsehood. They spoke only truth. They spoke only Torah. They came back to the ancient path. Back to it in these latter times. They have come back to it and are not turning to the right or to the left of the ancient path, but staying firmly implanted in the way everlasting. And because of this, in accordance with Revelation, the 3rd chapter, Yahuwah has promised to guard them and keep them from the hour of trial, because they have guarded the word of endurance. Yes, they have. Yes, they have. They have turned back to the ancient path. If you can perceive it, this is what Yahuwah is trying to keep us from. He's trying to prepare us and keep a small remnant from the hour of trial. Those who have turned back now to his ancient path and ruach and in truth with all of their heart, with all of their mind, and with all of their strength. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. If you obey the voice of Yahuwah, your Elohim, he will place you. Let me go back. He will place you high above all nations of the earth. And all of these barakut, and here are the benefits of one following this ancient path. And all of these barakut shall come upon you and overtake you. It's like you're running. Picture yourself running as fast as you can with a cheetah on your heels. And he just coming up upon you suddenly and overtaking you. This is what it says here. And all these barakut shall come upon you and overtake you if you obey the voice of Yahuwah, your Elohim. If you walk this ancient path. Listen here. Baruch are you in the city, and Baruch are you in the field. Baruch is the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your livestock. Oh, try him and see if these things won't overtake you if you walk the ancient path. The increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. Baruch, or glad is your basket. Ashah, glad is your basket and your kneading bowl. Glad are you when you come in, and glad are you when you go out. And glad are you when you go out. It's not gladness the fruit of the ruach. It's not gladness the fruit of the ruach. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Gladness is the fruit of the ruach. It's part of the fruit of the ruach. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Listen here. Glad are you when you come in, and glad are you when you go out. Yahuwah causes your enemies who rise against you to be smitten before your face. Indeed, he just spoke this in Leviticus, Ikra, the 26th chapter. 5 are going to chase 100, 1,000. 10 of you going to chase 10,000. He just said it. And he gave us the example of our righteous father Abraham, who took 318 men and smote an army of 800,000. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. All of our ancient fathers did this. Yes, they did. All of our ancient fathers did this, who walked the ancient path. Yahuwah causes your enemies who rise against you to be smitten before your face. They come out against you one way and flee before you 7 ways. Try him and see. Try him and see. Come back to this ancient path. Come back to obeying the voice of Yahuwah and ruach and in truth, turning to neither to the right or to the left of this ancient path, and see what he does. Try him. Try him at his word. Try him at his word. He is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should change his mind. Try him and see. Try him and see. He wants you to try him at his word. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yahuwah commands the barakah on you in your storehouses and in all to which you place your hand, and shall barak you in the land which Yahuwah, your Elohim, is giving you. Yahuwah does establish you as a Kadosh people to himself. Yahuwah does establish you as a Kadosh people to himself. And he has sworn to you. Listen. Yahuwah has sworn to us. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand? This means that Yahuwah has sworn by himself, because there's nothing that he can swear himself to. He cannot swear to Shamayim. He cannot swear to his throne. He cannot swear to the Arats, because he's above everything. And so if he swears by something, he swears by himself. He swears by himself because there's nothing above him. And so he must swear by himself. Listen to what he says. As he has sworn to you. As he has sworn to you. Now, when he swears something, it's what? It's everlasting. It's eternal. And so that means that that which he has sworn is still applicable to us. All we need to do is align ourselves with the promises. All we need to do is align ourselves, or should I say, realign ourselves with the ancient path. And if we do so, that which he has sworn is still applicable. It must be, because he spoke it from eternity. And that which he has spoken from eternity is what? Is eternal. Is eternal. If he has spoken something in eternity, that thing which he has spoken is eternal. And so this thing which he has sworn over his people, over his Kadosh people, over the pupil of his eye, is eternal. All we need to do, Mishpaka, all we need to do is realign ourselves with the ancient path. All we need to do is align ourselves or realign ourselves with the ancient path. Listen, as he has sworn to you, listen, if you guard the commands of Yahuwah, your Elohim, listen, and Yalak, walk in his ways. Yarom Yahu chapter 6, verse 16. And walk in his ways. And walk the ancient path. If we walk the ancient path, then that which he has sworn over his children is still applicable. Try him out. Try him out and see. Try him out and see. And all peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahuwah is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you. Malak, they don't believe me. They don't believe me. Somebody turn to Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9. Come on. Read it, please. You don't believe that these promises are still applicable. You don't believe me? Turn to Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9, and somebody read that for me, please. Somebody read it, please. Come on.
I know your works in pressure and poverty, yet you are rich in the blasphemy of those who say they are Yehudim and are not, but are an assembly of Hasatan.
Revelation 3:9.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue. Sorry, brother. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Hasatan, which say they are Yehudim and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Now, Brother Ephraim, I think there's still some doubters. I want you to turn back to Revelation 14 and read through what you read again. And while he's turning there, I want to read something to you. And all the peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahuwah is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you. Now read Revelation 14 through where you read before. And while he's doing that, somebody turn to Revelation 3 and read and start where the assembly of Philadelphia is. Somebody start there while he's reading this. Come on, brother, read.
And I looked and saw a lamb standing on Mount Zion. And with him 144,000, having his father's name written upon their foreheads.
What?
And having his father's name written upon their foreheads.
Okay, you can really stop there. And all peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahuwah is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you. Oh, they're going to bow down. They're going to bow down to the first fruits. To the first fruits. Somebody read Revelation chapter 3, starting at the assembly at Philadelphia. Okay.
And to the messenger of the assembly in Philadelphia, right? He who is Kadosh, he who is true, he who has the key of Dawid, he who opens and no one shuts, and shuts and no one open, says this: I know your works. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one is able to shut it. That you have little power, yet you have guarded my word, and you have not denied my name. See, I am giving up those of the assembly.
Wait. You have guarded what?
You have guarded my word.
Okay, put your finger right there. I just want to read something. And it shall be, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahuwah, your Elohim, to guard, to do all his commands, which I command you today, that Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall place you high above all the nations of the earth. Those who guard his word. Those who guard his word, who have returned to this ancient path. Continue reading.
You guarded my word and have not denied my name. See, I am giving up those of the assembly of Hashatan, who say they are Yahudim and are not, but lie. See, I am making them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved you. Because you have guarded my word of endurance, I shall also guard you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the Eretz, to try those who dwell on the Eretz. See, I am coming speedily. Hold what you have, that no one take your crown.
Are you listening? Are you listening? Hold what you have, lest no one take your crown. He has called you back. He's called us back to this ancient path. Do not compromise it. Do not turn to the right or to the left of it. Do not compromise this ancient path. Come on out, read.
He who overcomes, I shall make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Elohim. And he shall be no means go out. He shall by no means go out. And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim.
What?
And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim.
Say it again.
And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim.
Oh, you can't make this stuff up. I pray that you're understanding. I pray that you're understanding. And all the peoples of the earth shall see that the name of Yahuwah is called upon you, and they shall be afraid of you.
Yes.
Ain't nothing new under the sun. He's just calling us back to the ancient path. He's calling us back to the ancient ways, so that he can keep us from the hour of trial, so that he can exalt us above all other people. He is proud of us. He is proud of his children. He loves his children. Those who would forsake this world and come back to the ancient path. Oh, try him and see. Try him and see. And Yahuwah shall make you to have plenty of what is good, and the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground, in the land of which Yahuwah swore to your fathers to give you. Yahuwah opens to his good treasure. What time is it? 3:48. I want to say this to you. And I'm not going to address it. I'm not going to go into detail about it. I've already spoken this about me. I've spoken this through his servant. But his remnant are going to be the first to be brought back to the land. His remnant are going to be the first to be brought back to the land. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. It's in the text. It's in the text. He has promised to bring his first fruit back to the land first. And Yahuwah shall make you have plenty of what is good, and the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground, in the land of which Yahuwah swore to your fathers to give you. Yahuwah opens to you his good treasure, the Shamayim, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to barak all the work of your hand. And you shall lend to many nations. Oh, the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. Yes. You just wait and see what Yahuwah is getting ready to do to his people who are now turning back to this ancient path. Watch and see. Now, like our ancient fathers, we care nothing about wealth. We don't care nothing about it. We prefer to give it to somebody who needs it. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. This is one of the characteristics, as we spoke last week, of someone walking this ancient path. We saw this in the example of our ancient father Abraham. He'd rather give it away. He'd rather clothe the naked. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. He'd rather feed the hungry. Yes, he would. Yes, he would. And he'd rather give someone silver and gold who did not have it for the journey. Yes, he would. But before he sent them on, he also taught them the ways. He also taught them the ancient path of Yahuwah. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And someone walking this ancient path, we're going to operate in the same way. We care nothing about riches. We care nothing about it. We care nothing about riches. Our riches are stored up in Shamayim. But the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. And it is stored up for us so that why? So that we can go out and help the poor. We can feed them and clothe them and put silver in their hands and teach them the ancient path. Because if you come across somebody naked, if you come across somebody hungry, if you come across someone who needs silver and gold for their hand and you have nothing for them, that is to say, Yaqub addresses the same thing. Well, actually, he did it. What he addressed was, if you have this world's goods and you see a brother or sister naked or hungry, and you tell them, Yahuwah barak you, and be well fed and be warm, but you have the ability to clothe them and to give them food, you're not on the ancient path, and the love of the Father is not in you. Yahuwah addresses the same thing. But the message of the ancient path is more effective if we can come and meet their needs. If we can clothe those who are naked. If we can feed those who are hungry. If we can put silver and gold in the hand of someone who needs it. Then their ears are more inclined to receive the message of the ancient path. And not only that, but if we are walking in the fullness of the Ruach, if we are walking in uncommon signs and wonders and latter day rain and Akarit Gasham, then they are more likely to hear what thus says Yahuwah through his servants. And so, Barak Yahuwah, thank you, Judah. And you shall, let me go back, and you shall lend to many nations. This is one of the benefits of those who are following the ancient path. We are supposed to be lending, not borrowing. We are supposed to be lending, not borrowing. Now, turn back to this ancient path and see what he's going to do. Turn back wholly to this ancient path without compromising and see what he's going to do. And you shall lend to many nations, but you do not borrow. And Yahuwah shall make you the head and not the tail. And you shall be only on top and not be beneath. He wants to restore us, Maspaka. He wants to restore us. What he swore is still applicable. We just need to align ourselves with his ways. We just need to align ourselves with the ancient path. Listen, if you obey the commands of Yahuwah your Elohim, if you walk the ancient path, if you obey the commands of Yahuwah your Elohim, which I command you today to guard and do not what? Do not turn aside from any of the words which I am commanding you today, right or left. Do not turn aside from this path, either right or to the left. And if we do so, these promises are still applicable to us. And that which he swore, is still applicable to us. And he wants to make it good. He wants to make it good. He's just looking for a generation. He's looking for a remnant who's willing to turn back to the ancient path and not turn to the right or to the left of it, so that he can fulfill that which he has spoken over his children, that which he has promised us. To go after, let me start over, and do not turn aside from any of the words which I'm commanding you today, right or left, to go after other mighty ones, to serve them. To serve them. These benefits are to follow us, Mashpaka. If we are truly turning back to this ancient path, these benefits art shall follow us. And now after the 9th hour, we're going to continue this path, looking at Abraham, looking at his walk, and I can guarantee you, Mr. Parker, I can guarantee you that what we just read in Leviticus 26 and Deuteronomy 28, I can guarantee you that you're going to see these things following Abram. I can guarantee it already. Before we even begin again, I can guarantee you that you're going to see these things following not only Abram, but when we get to Ishkak and when we get to Yaqub, you're going to see them following them as well. As we saw these very same things following Nuach and Methuselah and Kanuk. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So I'm going to stop here, and then after the 9th hour, we're going to pick up reading Joshua, the 24th chapter. Yashar, the 24th chapter. Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you.
Barak Yahuwah. What you got there? Have the juice. Okay. Barak Yahuwah. Someone already have an offering ready? Someone already have an offering ready? Barak Yahuwah. If you have an offering ready, you don't have to wait to exactly the 9th hour. Barak Yahuwah. It's the 9th hour. Barak Yahuwah.
Yes.
Barak Yahuwah. 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 Come on, Mashpaka. Bring him an offering. Come on.
Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
Yahuwah.
Hallelujah.
Yahuwah. Kadosh. Yahuwah. Kadosh. Yahuwah. Kadosh. Yahuwah. Kadosh. 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 Yahuwah. Kadosh. 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 Yahuwah. Kadosh. 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 Yahuwah. Kadosh.
Yeah.
Kadosh. Kadosh. Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Yahuwah for setting me free. I praise you, Yahuwah, with all of my being. To only Yahuwah I give all esteem.
Yes.
My offerings and to Yahuwah I bring. So join me, Mishpaka, our praises we sing to Yahuwah, our sovereign King. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, our offerings we bring. Yahuwah, Yahusha, we give all esteem. Atuda, Yahuwah, for setting me free. I praise you, Yahuwah, with all of my being. Yahuwah, Yahuwah, our offerings we bring. Yahuwah, Yahusha, we give all esteem. Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Thank you, Abba Yahuwah.
Come on, Mashpaka.
He loves you and me. Oh, how he loves you and me. He gave his life. What more could he give? Oh, how he loves you. Oh, He loves you. Oh, how he loves me. Oh, how he loves you and me.
Thank you,
Oh,
Abba.
how he loves you and me. Oh, how he loves you and me. He gave his life. What more could he give? Oh, how he loves you. Oh, how
Yes.
he loves me. Oh, how he loves you and
Yes. Thank you,
me.
Abba. Thank you, Abba.
Rock Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Yeah, thank you for loving us, Abba.
Thank you, Abba.
Rock Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Oh, thank you for
Thank
loving
you,
us,
Abba.
Abba Yahuwah.
Yes.
Yes, he does.
How worthy is his name. How worthy
Yes, Abba.
his name. Yahuwah is. Yahuwah is his name. Yahuwah is his name.
Yes.
I worship in his name. Yahusha is his name.
Barak Yahuwah.
Yes, 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 yes.
How worthy is his name. How worthy is his name. I love
Barak Yahuwah. Barak
Thank
Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah.
Rock Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Who else has an offering? Who else has an
Thank
offering?
you, Abba.
I have a Telehim.
Barak Yahuwah.
Elohim 30. I exalt you, O Yahuwah, for you have drawn me up and have not let my enemies rejoice over me. Yahuwah, my Elohim, I have cried to you, and you have healed me. Yahuwah, you brought me up from the grave. You have kept me alive from going down into the pit. Sing praise to Yahuwah, you kind ones of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his kadoshah. For his displeasure is for a moment, his delight is for high. Weeping might last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. As for me, I have said in my ease, never would I be shaken. Yahuwah, in your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong. You hid your face, and I was troubled. I cried out to you, O Yahuwah, and to Yahuwah I prayed. What gain is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Would dust praise you? Would it declare your truth? Hear, O Yahuwah, and show me favor. Yahuwah, be my helper. You have turned my mourning into dancing for me. You have torn off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, so that esteem might praise you and not be silent. Yahuwah, my Elohim, I thank you forever. And I also have 31. In you, O Yahuwah, I have taken refuge. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me in your righteousness. Incline your ear to me. Deliver me speedily. Be a rock of refuge to me, a house of defense to save me. For you are my rock and my stronghold. For your name's sake, lead me and guide me. Bring me out of the net which they have hidden for me. For you are my stronghold. Into your hand I commit my spirit. You have redeemed me, O Yahuwah, El of truth. I have hated those who observe lying vanity, but I trust in Yahuwah. I exult and rejoice in your kindness. for you have seen my affliction. You have known the distress of my life, and you have not shut me up into the hand of the enemy. You have stood my feet in a large place. Show me favor, O Yahuwah, for I am in distress. My eye, my being, and my body have become old with grief. For my life is consumed in sorrow, and my years in sighing. My strength fails because of my wickedness, and my bones have become old. I am a reproach among all my adversaries, but most of all among my neighbors, and a dread to my friends. Those who see me outside flee from me. I have been forgotten from the heart, like someone dead. I have been like a missing vessel, for I hear the evil report of many, fears from all around. When they take counsel together against me, they plot to take away my life. But I have put my trust in you, O Yahuwah. I have said, you are my Elohim, my times are in your hand. Deliver me from the hand of my enemies and from those who pursue me. Make your face shine upon your servant. Save me in your kindness. Do not let me be ashamed, O Yahuwah, for I have called upon you. Let the wicked be ashamed. Let them be silenced in the grave. Let lips of falsehood be stilled, which speak recklessly against the righteous, with pride and scorn. How great is your goodness, which you have laid up for those revering you, which you have prepared for those taking refuge in you, in the sight of the sons of men. In the secrecy of your presence you shall hide them from the plots of man. You shelter them in a booth from the strife of tongues. Baruch be Yahuwah, for he has made marvelous his kindness to me in a strong city. And I have said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. Yet you heard the voice of my prayers when I cried out to you. Love Yahuwah, all you his kind ones. For Yahuwah guards the trustworthy ones and exceedingly repays the doer of pride. Be strong and let him strengthen your heart, all you who are waiting for Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah. Thank you, Abba.
Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you, Abba. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Anyone else got an offering, Mashpaka?
I'd like to read Psalms 19:7. The Torah of Yahuwah is perfect, bringing back the being. The witness of Yahuwah is trustworthy, making wise the simple. The orders of Yahuwah are straight, rejoicing the heart. The command of Yahuwah is clear, enlightening the eyes. The reverence of Yahuwah is clean, standing forever. The right rulings of Yahuwah are true. They are righteous altogether, more desirable than gold, than much fine gold, and sweeter than honey and the honeycomb. Also your servant is warned by them. In guarding them there is great reward.
There it is.
Thank you, Abba. Yep.
Barak Yahuwah. Did she freeze up?
Barak Yahuwah.
Did she freeze up?
No, can you hear me? I'm still here.
Okay, Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
That was it. I didn't want to read too much.
Okay, Barak Yahuwah.
To give room to others.
Barak Yahuwah. Anyone else, Miss Parker, who has an offering?
Barak Yahuwah. I got one. Barak Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Kadosh Hashem, Kadosh Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Kadosh Hashem, Kadosh Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Kadosh Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Kadosh Hashem, Kadosh Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shem Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah.
Thank you, Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Anybody else got an offering, Mishpaka?
Can I read Talahim 150?
Yes, sir.
Praise Yah. Praise El in his Kadush place. Praise him in his mighty expanse. Praise him for his mighty acts. Praise him according to his excellent greatness. Praise him with the blowing of the shofar.
Yes.
One more time.
Barak Yahuwah.
Praise him with the blowing of the shofar. Praise Praise him with the harp and the lyre. Praise him with tambourine and dance. Barak Yahuwah. Praise him with the string instruments and flutes.
Yes.
Oh.
Praise him with sounding cymbals.
Yes.
Praise him with resounding cymbals.
Yes.
Let all that has breath praise Yah.
Praise Yah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak
I got a
Yahuwah.
scripture I would like to read.
Barak Yahuwah.
Dabarim chapter 8, verse 3. And he humbled you and let you suffer hunger and fed you with manna which you did not know, nor did your fathers know, to make you know that man does not live by bread alone,
That's right.
but by all that comes from the mouth of Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Yes, sir. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. The ancient path.
Thank you, Abba.
Barak Yahuwah. All right. All right. Put it closer to the mic this time.
You've seen, you've known, you watched me grow. You've seen, you've known, you've watched me grow. So I say praise you, praise you, praise you for all you do. Barak Yahuwah for all that he's done. Barak Yahuwah, 'cause the battle's already won. Barak Yahuwah, Malak Ha'ulam. Barak Yahuwah, 'cause he will make you tum. Oh, praise you. done.
Mm-hmm.
Praise Yahuwah, because the battle's already won. Praise Yahuwah, Melech Ha'ulam. Praise Yahuwah, because he will make you time. Oh, praise you. Praise you. Praise you, Abba, for all you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah.
Yeah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Barak Yahuwah.
Oh, Barak Yahuwah. Oh, we got a chorus in the making.
Yes, we do.
We got a chorus in the making. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. We thank you, Abba, for allowing us to come before you at this ninth hour. None of us are worthy of even bringing you your offering, Abba. All of our hands are dirty.
Yes.
We're only clean because you say that we are clean. We come before you making no boastful claims that we're righteous or that we're clean. We're only righteous if you say that we're righteous. We're only righteous if you cover us in your righteousness. We're only clean if you cleanse us by the shed dam of Yahushua HaMashiach. And so, Abba, we do not even come to you in our own names or in our own righteousness. We come to you humbled. Humbled, Abba. Truly humbled.
Yes.
In the name of Yahushua.
Name of Yahushua.
By his righteousness we come.
Yes.
Bringing you your offerings at this ninth hour. And oh Abba, we pray that they have been a sweet smelling aroma into your nostrils.
Yes, Abba.
We pray that you've been well pleased, Abba.
Yes, Abba.
Well pleased to come and sup and partake of the food which your children have prepared for you.
Yes, Abba.
Oh Abba, we pray that you're full. We pray that you've sat at the table and you're full, Abba, of the food that has been brought to you, of the best of the oil and of the wine, and the best of the first that splits the womb, and the best of the bread. The pure offerings that came from each heart, Abba. We pray that it was well received by you and a sweet smelling aroma into your nostrils. And now as we go forward, Abba, please continue to teach us your ancient path. Continue to open it up for us, Abba. Continue to make it plain so that even a child can understand. Continue to give us a hunger and thirst for righteousness, a hunger and thirst for truth, a hunger and thirst for your ways, a hunger and thirst for your righteous, for your ancient path. In the Basham of Yahushua HaMashiach, so be it, so be it, so be it.
So be it.
Barak
So be
Yahuwah.
it.
So be it.
Barak Yahuwah.
So be it.
So be it. So be it.
Barak Yahuwah.
So be it.
So be it.
Barak Yahuwah.
So be it.
Go ahead and mute your mics again, Mashpaka. Go ahead and mute your mics again. And we're going to pick this back up again. Searching for the Ancient Path, part 11. And now we're going to look, Abba began in the first hour of showing us some of the benefits that should follow one, that should accompany one who is walking the ancient path. And he has made the disclaimer that we're going to find these same benefits. We're going to find these same characteristics associated with our ancient fathers, with in this case with our ancient father Abraham. And so now let's take a look at Jasher again. Prayerfully we'll be able to end Jasher on this day, but we will not be finished with Abraham. But prayerfully we'll be finished with Jasher on this day, reading through the book of Jasher, starting here at chapter 24, and looking at the example of our ancient father Abraham, and looking to his example in what walking the ancient path, what it looks like, what that looks like, and how that should translate into each and every one of our lives. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. So let's turn now to Yashar, the 24th chapter. Jasher, the 24th chapter. Jasher, Yashar, the 24th chapter. Yashar, or Jasher, the 24th chapter. And we're beginning here at verse 1. In the life of Sarah, and we read last week about the death of Sarah and the events leading up to her death, and we were able to discuss that a little bit. But here we find now in chapter 24, we're going to find that Sarah has died, and we're going to find Abraham now burying his dead, burying his beloved. Let's take a look at how he handled this whole situation. Listen here, beginning at verse 1. And the life of Sarah was 127 years, and Sarah died. And Abraham rose up from before his dead to seek a burial place to bury his woman, Sarah. We are commanded, Mishpachah, to bury our dead. Yes, we're commanded to bury our dead. This is a commandment. We're commanded to bury them, not leave them on top of the ground, but we're commanded to bury them. And so this is the ancient way. This is the ancient way. Indeed, Adam and Kua were buried. They were buried in a cave, albeit, but they were buried. They were buried. And so this is the ancient way. We are to bury our dead. We are to bury them. And Abraham rose up from before the dead to seek a burial place to bury his woman, Sarah. And he went and spoke to the children of Kath, the inhabitants of the land, saying, now, I'm going to get ahead of myself just a bit, but we're going to read this. Now, the cave in which Abraham is going to purchase is called the cave at Machpelah. It's the cave at Machpelah. Now, it is believed by some, and I happen to believe this, that Abram, being familiar with the ancient path and being familiar with the ways of our father, that he was privy to the knowledge of where Adam was buried, or where Adam is buried. And it is my belief and the belief of others that Adam was buried here in the cave of Machpelah. And this is the exact cave that Abraham purchased. He wanted to be buried with his fathers. He wanted to be buried with his fathers, and he wanted to be resurrected with his fathers. And so it is my belief that indeed that the cave at Machpelah that we're getting ready to read about that he purchased is the cave in which Adam was buried in, or is buried in. Let's read verse 2. I am a stranger and sojourner with you in your land. Give me a possession of a burial place in your land, that I may bury my dead from before me. And the children of Kath said unto Abraham, behold, the land is before you. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury your dead, for no man shall withhold you from burying your dead. Now, here is another characteristic. Again, we've spoken about this. How the favor of Yahuwah rests upon them who walks the ancient path. Because those who walk the ancient path, as we have seen in the example of our father Abraham, are what? Are good to all men. Are good to all men. Are upright before men and Yahuwah. And because Abraham was good to all men, and he walked uprightly before men and Yahuwah, listen to what they said. And the children of Kath said unto Abraham, behold, the land is before you. The whole land is before you. It's yours. Wherever you want to bury your dad, just bury him. You have been good to us. You've been good to us. And we want to return that favor. We want to be good to you now. This should follow one. This characteristic should follow one who is walking this ancient path. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury your dead, for no man shall withhold you from burying your dead. And Abraham said unto them, if you are agreeable to this, go and entreat to me Ephraim, the son of Zukah, requesting that he may give me the cave of Machpelah. which is in the end of the field, and I will purchase it, and I will purchase it of him for whatsoever he desire for it. Here is another characteristic. Those who are walking this ancient path indeed again are upright. Are upright and fair dealing people. Are upright and fair dealing people. We do not have unjust scales. We do not have unjust scales. Indeed, did you think that began in the Torah of Moshe? No, this is ancient. We do not have unjust scales. We deal fairly with all men. I don't want you to give me anything. I want to deal fairly with you. I want to purchase this cave at its value. I want to deal fairly and uprightly with you. This is another characteristic. We are upright. We deal fairly with people. We deal righteously with people. We deal justly with people. And indeed, another characteristic is that because we walk uprightly before men and Yahuwah, that not only the favor of Yahuwah rests upon us, but men will shower us with favor, as they're trying to do with Abraham here. Listen, and Abraham said unto them, if you are agreeable to go and entreat for me to Ephron, the son of Zukah, requesting that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which is in the end of his field, and I will purchase it of him for whatsoever he desired for it. Now indeed, he specifically asked for that cave, for the cave of Machpelah. Why that cave? Because he was familiar with that cave. Because indeed, it is my belief that this is the exact cave where Adam is buried. Verse 5. And Ephraim dwelt among the children of Koth, and they went and called for him. And he came before Abraham. And Ephraim said unto Abraham, behold, listen, all you require your servant will do. Will do. Listen to how he's addressing Abraham. Why? And this is one of the nations. This is a heathen. This is not someone following the Torah. Why is he addressing Abram this way? Because Abram was Torah made flesh. Abram was a living Torah, walking the ancient path, living the ancient path. And he was upright before all men. He was good to all men and upright before all men and to Elohim. And this is how the men of the land, in turn replied to him. Behold, all you require your servant will do. And Abraham said, no, but I will buy the cave and the field which you have for value. Again, those who walk the ancient path are upright. We do not have unjust scales. We're not trying to rob anyone. I want to give you whatever this cave is valued at. I want to give it to you because I am Abraham and I walk uprightly before men and before my Elohim. I walk this ancient path without turning to the right or to the left. So now tell me what this cave is worth, in order that it may be for a possession of a burial place forever. Aulam, a burial place forever. And Ephraim answered and said, behold, the field and the cave are before you. Give whatsoever you desire. He continued to try to show favor to Abraham because Abraham was good to everybody. He was good to everybody. He fed the hungry. He clothed the naked. He gave silver and gold to the poor. And he taught everybody the ways, the ancient path of Yahuwah. And so everybody loved him. They loved Abraham. But again, he was an upright man. He was a righteous man. And he wanted to give this man what the cave was worth, because this is what one walking the ancient path will do. I don't want you to give me anything. I want to give you what this cave is worth. Listen to what Abraham said. And Abraham said, only at full value will I buy it from your hand. Listen, Mishpaka. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Only at full value will I buy it from your hand, and from the hands of those that go in at the gate of your city, and from the hand of your seed forever. Now, one who is walking the ancient path is not looking for a homie discount. They ain't looking for a homie discount. No, they're not. They're not looking for a homie discount. They want to give you what this property is worth, because we want to deal fairly with you, because we are upright, and we do not want our good to be spoken of as evil. So we want to give you what it's worth. And we want to deal fairly with you, and we want you to see Yahuwah in us, and we want you to see the light of Yahuwah in us, and we want you to see an upright example. Yes, we do. Because why? Because we are Kahan. We're Kahan, and we're daughters of Shara. We're Kahan. And as Kahan, we're supposed to be what? Living, tangible examples of what it looks like, what it tangibly looks like to walk this ancient path. Yes, we are. We are to be lights to the nations, lights to the Gentiles. We are to be, as Kahan, living, tangible examples of what it looks like to be separate unto Yahuwah, of what it looks like to walk this ancient path. This is the example that we are to be showing the nations, the same example in which our father, Abraham, who too was a Kahan in the order of Melchizedek, the same example that he showed them is the same example that we should be aspiring to show them as well. Reading verse 6 again. And Ephraim answered and said, Behold, the field of the cave are before you. Give whatsoever you desire. And Abraham said, Only at full value will I buy it from your hand, and from the hands of those that go in at the gate of your city, and from the hand of your seed forever. And Ephraim and all his brethren heard this. And Abraham weighed to Ephraim 400 shekels of silver in the hands of Ephraim, and in the hands of all his brethren. And Abraham wrote this transaction, and he wrote it and testified it with 4 witnesses. Indeed, out of the mouth of 2 or more witnesses, let every matter be established. Now, here is another characteristic of someone walking the ancient path. What is that? They use prudence. They have chakma. He had a written record, and he had witnesses. And so he wanted to deal fairly with these people. He did, because he was an upright man. But he also did this so that there was a record of purchase, and there were witnesses, so that throughout the generations, someone could not come along and say that we gave you this cave, now we want it back. No, he purchased it fairly. And so someone walking this ancient path also what? Has chakma. They have chakma. This is another characteristic of someone walking this ancient path. They have chakma, and they use chakma in business dealings. Whether or not you're dealing with a brother or a sister, or whether or not you're dealing with a nation. Now, if you're dealing with the nations, you've really got to use chakma. Indeed, Yahushua spoke these words, Behold, I am sending you amongst wolves. Therefore, be as chakam as serpents, and as humble as doves. Barak Yahuwah. And these are the names of the witnesses. Amigal, son of Abishna, the Kiti. Adi Karum, son of Ashunak, the Kiti. Abdun, son of Akiram, the Gemari. Bakdil, the son of Abudish, the Zidoni. And Abraham took the safar of the purchase and placed it in his treasuries. And these are the words that Abraham wrote in the safar, namely, that the cave and the field Abraham bought from Ephraim, the Kiti, and from his seed and from those that go out of his city, and from their seed forever, are to be a purchase to Abraham, and to his seed, and to those that go forth from his loins, for a possession of a burial place, Aulam, forever. And he put a signet to it, and testified it with witnesses. So, to recap, one who is walking this ancient path walks uprightly before men and before Yahuwah. And because you walk uprightly before men, and you are good to men, good to all men, you're feeding the hungry, you're clothing the naked, you're putting silver and gold in the hand of the poor, and you're teaching them the ways of Yahuwah. You're teaching them the ancient path. Because you are good to all men, then the favor of men are to rest on you. The favor of men are to rest on you. Yes, it should. Yes, it should. Next, we see here that one who is walking the ancient path ought to deal justly, uprightly, and fairly with all men, not having unjust scales, but and not looking for a homie discount, but wanting to deal fairly with all men. With all men. Next, we see that one walking the ancient path ought to use chokmah, ought to operate in chokmah, ought to have chokmah, and ought to use chokmah in all of his dealings, his or her dealings. Yes, they should. Yes, they should. Verse 11. And the field and the cave that was in it, and all that place were made sure unto Abraham, and unto his seed after him, from the children of Kath. Behold, it is before Mamre in Cabron, which is in the land of Canaan. And after this, Abraham buried his woman Sarah there. And that place in all its boundary became to Abraham and unto his seed for a possession of a burial place. And Abraham buried Sarah with pomp, as observed at the interment of sovereigns. And she was buried in very fine and beautiful garments. And at her coffin was Shem. And at her coffin was Shem, the son of Nuach, who taught Abram. His sons, Abba, who also taught Abraham. And Abimelech, together with Anah, Ashkul, and Mamre, and all the grandees of the land followed her coffin. They honored Abraham. They honored Abraham because Abraham was a righteous man walking the ancient path, and they honored him. They honored him. This too should be a characteristic of one following the ancient path. Others should automatically want to honor you. Why? Because you're good to them. Because you're good to them. And they see Yahuwah in you. They see the light of Yahuwah in you. Barak Yahuwah. And the days of Sarah were 127 years, and she died. And Abraham made a great and heavy mourning, and they performed the rites of mourning for 7 days. Indeed, we are to mourn our dead. This indeed is in the Torah. The Torah declares that we have what? 30 days to mourn our dead. 30 days to mourn our dead, and then we are expected to move on. After 30 days, we are expected to move on because Yahuwah does not want us mourning the dead too long, because Yahuwah doesn't place as much onus on the flesh as we do. You see, Yahuwah is more concerned about the deliverance of the ruach, of the soul. He's not so much concerned about the flesh. And so if we are walking this ancient path, then we what? We believe in the resurrection of the dead. Yes, we do. We believe in the resurrection of the dead. And if that person that died was walking the ancient path, we believe that they're going to be first fruits, that they're going to rise in the first resurrection. And so he's given us 30 days to mourn, and then we're to move on. But he's given us time to mourn, but not to be so caught up and too caught up in the flesh. We don't do that. One walking the ancient path is not caught up in the flesh. We're not. No, we're not. And we're going to see this in the example of Abraham. Yes, we are. So it says here that he mourned 7 days. And all the inhabitants of the land comforted Abraham and Ishak his son on account of Sarah. Listen. And when the days of their mourning passed by Abraham, Abraham sent away his son Ishak, and he went to the house of Shem and Abba to do what? To learn the ancient path, to learn the ways, Yarad, to learn the ways, Yarak, I believe it's Yarak. To learn the ways of Yahuwah, to learn the ancient path and its instruction, to learn the ancient path from those who have been taught the ancient path, from their ancient forefathers who were to walk in the ancient path, who had learned the ancient path from their forefathers, who had learned the ancient path from their forefathers, going all the way back to Adam, where it started, going all the way back to Adam. And so now we read here where Ishak is now going to the house of Shem, the son of Nuach, and Abba, the grandson of Shem, and the great-grandson of Nuach, to learn the ancient path, to learn the ways of Yahuwah and its instructions. And Abraham remained there 3 years. Now, he mourned for 7 days. But walking the ancient path, do not make the mistake of not understanding and not realizing that Abraham was fully aware of the resurrection of the dead. Yes, he was. He was fully aware of the resurrection of the dead, and he understood that he was going to see Sarah again. And so after the mourning period, as one walking the ancient path, he moved on. He moved on because he had more work to do. He had to complete an assignment that was given to him, and he had to continue walking. And as someone walking the ancient path will do, understanding that again there is a resurrection of the dead, and if the one who has been deceased was walking that same ancient path, they too are going to resurrect in the first resurrection. And so we don't mourn them. We don't mourn as the Gentiles mourn, because we have an expectation. And so we don't mourn as the Gentiles do. Some people mourn for years, and some people lose their proverbial minds literally over the death of a loved one. They do. But we who are walking the ancient path, we do not do that. We mourn for a prescribed period, and then we move on. Barak Yahuwah. And so, verse 18. And at that time, Abraham rose up with all his servants, and they went and returned homeward to Bar-Sheba. And Abraham and all his servants remained in Bar-Sheba. And at the revolution of the year, Abimelech, sovereign of the Philistines, died in that year. He was 193 years old at his death. And Abraham, went with his people to the land of the Philistines, listen here, and they comforted the whole household and all his servants. I pray you're listening. This is the characteristic of someone walking this ancient path. They are good to all men. Indeed, there is a text, I believe it's in 2 Shamuel, when one of the sovereigns had died, that Malak Dawood sent condolences to him. He sent servants to that man to console him for the death of his father, I believe. And but instead of receiving the condolences of someone walking the ancient path, him walking the broad path did not trust him, could not see that Dawood was merely walking the ancient path and just merely wanted to be good to all men. He just wanted to be good to him. Just wanted to be good to him, like his father Abraham. Like his father Abraham. And Abraham went with his people to the land of the Philistines, and they comforted the whole household and all his servants. And he then turned and went home. And he then turned and went home. Now, so in other words, this characteristic here is what? Is compassion. It's compassion. One walking the ancient path ought to operate in compassion. Compassion indeed is the fruit of the Ruach. Indeed, Abraham walked and operated in the fruit of the Ruach. And so one walking the ancient path ought to operate in compassion. Yes, he should. Yes, he should. We're looking at the example of our ancient father Abraham, who walked the ancient path his whole life, all his days. He neither turned to the right or to the left of it. And so one of those characteristics again is compassion. Is it not written that he desires compassion and not offering? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And indeed, if you read Galatians 5:22 and 23, you will find compassion there. You will find compassion. And so one walking the ancient path ought to walk in compassion. We ought to show the same compassion that Yahuwah shows towards us. Yes, we should. Yes, we should. Verse 20. And it was after the death of Abimelech that the people of Gerar took Ban Malik, his son, and he was only 12 years old, and they made him lying in the place of his father. And they called his name Abimelech, after the name of his father, which means my father is sovereign. Abi meaning my father, Malak meaning sovereign. Abimelech, after the name of his father. And thus it was their custom to do in Gerar. And Abimelech reigned instead of Abimelech his father, and he sat upon his throne. And this is the Abimelech that Ishkak had dealings with. And Lut, the son of Haran, also died in those days, in the 39th year of the life of Ishkak. And all the days that Lut lived were 140 years, and he died. And these are the children of Lut. And these are the children of Lut that were born to him by his daughters. The name of the firstborn was Moab, and the name of the second was Ban-Ami. Ban-Ami. And the two sons of Lut went and took themselves women from the land of Canaan, and they bore children to them. And the children of Moab were Ad and Maiun, Tarsus, and Canbil. 4 sons. These are fathers to the children of Moab unto this day. And all the families of the children of Lut went to dwell wherever they should light upon, for they were fruitful and increased abundantly. And they went and built themselves cities in the land where they dwelt, and they called the names of the cities which they built after their own names. And Nachor, the son of Terach, brother to Abraham, died in those days in the 40th year of the life of Ishkak. And all the days of Nachor were 172 years, and he died and was buried in Haran. And when Abraham heard that his brother was dead, he grieved sadly, and he mourned over his brother many days. Indeed, here is another characteristic of those walking this ancient path: a tender-hearted and compassionate. Tender-hearted and compassionate. And Abraham called for Eleazar, his head servant, to give him orders concerning his house. And he came and stood before him. And Abraham said to him, Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death, for I am advanced in days. Now therefore rise up, go forth, and do not take a woman for my son from this place, from this land, from the daughters of Canaan, amongst whom we dwell. Amongst whom we dwell. This indeed is Abraham being obedient, because he knew that the children of Canaan were cursed, that they were going to be rooted out of the land. He knew this even before This was written in the Torah of Moshe and Dabarim, the 7th chapter. He understood this even before then, even before it was written in the Torah of Moshe that you are not to intermingle with their seed, that you are not to give your sons to their daughters or your daughters to their sons. Before this was even written in the Torah of Moshe, I pray that you understand that Torah is eternal. He knew this, and he did not want his son Ishkak to intermingle with them, lest they turn his heart away from the ways, the ancient path of Yahuwah. And so here's another characteristic, that we don't intermingle. No, we don't. Even in the Ba'it Kadashah it is written, wherefore come out from among them. Wherefore come out from among them. Be ye separate. Touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. We don't intermingle with the heathen. We don't marry them. We don't marry them. We don't marry amongst them. We marry relatives. As Abraham is getting ready to send Ali Azar to his father's house, to his relative's house, in order to gather one of his relatives, in this case Rebekah, to come back and be joined to his son. And so, as we spoke briefly about last week, I believe, or maybe the week before, you and I are to also, those walking this ancient path, are to marry relatives. We are to marry someone who too is likewise walking this ancient path, and who what? Who has the same father. A brother and a sister, like Kua was joined to Adam. She was his sister because she was taken out of him. She indeed was his sister. We indeed are to marry our sister. You are to marry your brother. Because indeed, if we both have been reborn from above, from the loins of Yahuwah, then we have the same father. And that makes us brother and sister. And we too are not to intermingle with the heathen. We too are to marry relatives. This is indicative of someone following the ancient path, because you're going to be sensitive to this. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. You're going to be sensitive to this. You're not going to be led by your flesh. You're not going to be led by your eyes. You're going to be led by the Ruach. You're going to be led by the Ruach. You see, the nations are led by their flesh. The nations are led by their eyes, and they get into trouble. But those who are walking the ancient path, we are led by the Ruach. We allow Abba to lead us to the one that he wants us to be joined to. And that one in which he leads us to must be a relative. Yes, they must be a relative. They must be a relative. Reading here, verse 30 now. And Abraham said to him, behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death, for I am advanced in days. Now therefore rise up, go forth, and do not take a woman for my son from this place and from this land, from the daughters of Canaan, from the daughters of the Canaan, amongst whom we dwell. But go to my land and to my birthplace, and take from this a woman for my son. And Yahuwah Elohim of Shammai, and earth, who took me from my father's house, and brought me to this place, and said unto me, take to your seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever. He will send his messenger before you, and prosper your way, that you may obtain a woman for my son, from my family. From my family. Indeed, again, we marry relatives. We marry relatives. Now listen. Listen here. Don't you go somewhere saying that Dawood told you to go marry your cousin. Don't you go tell nobody that. Dawood did not tell you to go marry your cousin. No, I didn't. I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to marry your sister, who too is born from the loins of Yahuwah. Go marry a relative. Go and marry a relative. But now, don't go be marrying your first cousin. No, don't be going marrying your half-sister. Talking about, well, she my half-sister. No, that's nasty. Don't be going marry your half-sister. There is a Torah against that. There is a Torah that instructs us not to do that. But we are indeed to marry relatives. I pray that you get the context. We are indeed to marry relatives. This is what this is teaching us. This is what this is teaching us. Now, looking here at verse 31 again, One walking this ancient path, again, has what? Has trust. Has trust in the word of Yahuwah. Has trust in Yahuwah. They have trust. Yes, they do. The one following this ancient path has trust. Let's read this again. But go to my land and to my birthplace, and take from thence a woman for my son. And Yahuwah Elohim of Shamayim and earth, who took me from my father's house, and brought me to this place, and said unto me, to your seed will I give this land for an inheritance forever. He will send his messenger before you and prosper your way. How can he confidently say this? Because Yahuwah had already spoken it to him. Yahuwah had spoken it to him, and guess what? He trusted what Yahuwah had said. He trusted what he said. And if you're walking this ancient path, then you too would trust what Yahuwah has said and what he says to you. Verse 32. And the servant answered his master Abraham and said, behold, I go to your birthplace and to your father's house, and take a woman for your son from there. But if the woman be not willing to follow me to this land, shall I take your son back to the land of your birthplace? And Abraham said unto him, take heed that you bring not my son hither again. Why? For Yahuwah, before whom I have walked, he will send his messenger before you and prosper your way. Now his servant questioned. But Abraham remained firm and steadfast on what? On what Yahuwah had spoken. On what Yahuwah had spoken. Because he understood that what Yahuwah has spoken, it must come to pass. It must come to pass. Let me tell you, if Yahuwah speaks something to me, I'm through. I'm done with. Nobody can move me from it. No one can move me from it. If he has spoken it, it's done. It's done. If he has spoken it, it's done. Trust is a major characteristic of someone walking this ancient path. Yes, it is. Because without trust, we cannot please him. Before we can come to him, we must first believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him, like our father Abraham diligently sought him. You see, someone walking this ancient path will what? They will diligently seek him. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. They will diligently seek him, and they will believe and obey every word that is spoken out of his mouth. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. And Abraham said unto him, take heed that you bring not my son hither again. Now he also said this because why? Because Yahuwah had spoken a barakah over him and his seed, and said that the land of Canaan he was given to both Abraham and his seed. So why would he take him there to his land? No, don't go back there. Abba has given us this land. This land. Do not take him there. Yahuwah has given us this land. And Abraham believed him. And Abraham believed him. And in the traditional 66, it says what? And it was accounted to him as righteousness. Because he trusted him, and it was accounted to him as righteousness. Yes, it is. Because if we trust him, if we believe him, then we will obey him. And if we obey him, as it is written in Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter and the 25th verse, it will what? It will be righteousness for us. The Torah, our obedience to Torah will be righteousness for us. Barak Yahuwah. And Abraham said unto him, actually, verse 34, and Eleazar did as Abraham ordered him. And Eleazar swore unto Abraham his master upon this matter. And Eleazar rose up and took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and 10 men from his master's servant with him. And they rose up and went to Haran. And they rose up and went to Haran. I just looked at the time on the YouTube video, and I kind of went over on it. I didn't mean to go this long, but I'm going to read a little bit more. I'm going to read throughout this chapter, and then I'm going to shut this YouTube video down and start a new one. Barak Yahuwah. I'm going to start part 12. Barak Yahuwah, because I don't like to go too long on them, because you lose people on YouTube if you go too long. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Verse 34. And Al-E'azar did as Abraham ordered him. And Al-E'azar swore unto Abraham his master upon this matter. And Al-E'azar rose up and took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and 10 men from his master's servants with him. And they rose up and went to Haran, the city of Abraham. You will find this account. You will find this account in Genesis of Bereshith, the 24th chapter. The 24th chapter. The city of Abraham and Nachor, in order to fetch a woman for Ishkak, the son of Abraham. And while they were gone, Abraham sent to the house of Sham in Abba, and they brought from thence his son Ishkak. And they brought from thence his son Ishkak. Here's another characteristic of someone walking the ancient path. They will what? They will teach their children the ancient path at all costs. They will teach their children the ancient path at all costs. Verse 35. And Ishkak came home to his father's house to Baal-sheba, while Al-E'azar and his men came to Haran. And they stopped in the city by the watering place, and he made his camels to kneel down by the water, and they remained there. And Al-E'azar, Abraham's servant, prayed and said, O Elohim, O Alua of Abraham, my master, send me, I pray, you good speed this day, and show kindness unto my master, that you shall appoint this day a woman for my master's son from his family. And Yahuwah hearkened to the voice of Al-E'azar for the sake of his servant Abraham. For the sake of his servant Abraham. Now, here again, we've been talking about this. Is another characteristic. If you are walking the ancient path, not only will Yahuwah give heed to your prayers, he will give heed to your prayers. He listens to your prayer. In accordance, you can read 1 John the 5th chapter as a precept to this. But he hears and heeds the prayers of those who are walking the ancient path. He listens. Yes, he does. He comes quickly. Yes, he does. He listens to our prayers. Yes, he does. And not only will he listen to our prayers, but he will listen to those who are attached to us. And he will listen to them for what? For the sake of us. As he listened to Al-E'azar for the sake of his servant Abraham. And he happened to meet with his daughter, with the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the woman of Nachor, brother of Abraham. And Al-E'azar came to her house. And Al-E'azar related to them all his concerns, and that he was Abraham's servant. And they greatly rejoiced at him. And they all Baruch Yahuwah, who brought this thing about. And they gave him Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, for a woman for Yitzchak. And she was his first cousin. She was his first cousin. And the young woman was a very comely appearance. She was very beautiful. She was a virgin. She was an Alma. And Rebekah was 10 years old in those days. And Rebekah was 10 years old in those days. Now, here is where when you read these, what as they say, extra scriptural text, you're going to have to be able to chew the meat and spit out the bones with some of these texts. Now, I don't just throw out the bathwater with any of them. I don't throw out the bathwater with any of them, but there must be precepts. There must be precepts. Now, Bereshith doesn't give the age of Rebekah. Bereshith doesn't give her age, but Yashar says here 10 years old. I've read in other accounts where she was between 14 and 16 years old. So you have to be able to chew the meat and spit out the bones with some things, but do not throw the baby out with the bathwater just because something doesn't completely align. We're talking about ancient texts. And so some things may not completely align. I mean, we can look no further than the Bashura, the good news. Mark reads different from Luke, and Luke reads different from Matthew. And so all three different accounts of the very same story. And so with that in mind, we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Verse 41. And Bethuel and Laban and his children made a feast on that night. And YAHUAH'S and his men came and ate and drank and celebrated there on that night. And YAHUAH'S rose up in the morning, he and the men that were with him, and he called to the whole household of Bethuel, saying, send me away that I may go to my master. Before I go on, I've also heard in one account of someone defending that she was 10 years old, that Ishkak didn't immediately go into her, that he allowed her to get older, and this is why Deborah went with her, who was her nurse, to continue to raise her and nourish her until she became of age. I've heard this as well. I won't completely throw that out, but I just threw that out there as also something to consider. And they rose up and sent Rebekah and her nurse Deborah, the daughter of Uz, and they gave her silver and gold, men servants and maid servants, and they Baruch her. And they sent YAHUAH'S away with his men, and the servants took Rebekah, and he went and returned to his master to the land of Canaan. And Ishkak took Rebekah, and she became his woman, and he brought her into the tent. And Ishkak was 40 years old when he took Rebekah. Now, if indeed he was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, he was 37 when he went, and when he came back he was 40. So here it is saying that he was 40 years old when he took Rebekah. This is why I do not believe Rebekah was 10 years old. I do not believe she was 10 years old when Ishkak went into her, when he became one flesh with her. Now, when she was purchased, when she received a bride's price, she was indeed his wife. She became his wife, because some of you understand that when a bride's price is paid, that the woman at that point becomes the man's wife. The only thing that remains is the exchanging of the vows and the wedding feast and the consummation of the marriage. And so she was his wife. Once she was purchased, she was his wife. But I do not believe that he went into a 10-year-old girl. I make that disclaimer. I do not believe that. And Ishkak was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of his uncle Bethuel, for a woman. Let's turn to chapter 25. Chapter 25 of Yashar. Let me stop this YouTube video. To my YouTube family, I didn't mean for this to go this long. Barak Yahuwah, I wanted to stop this long before now, but I pray that you'll join us for part 12. I'm going to end this now. For those of you who will join us, I'll see you in a couple of minutes. For those of you who will not be rejoining us again or may rejoin us later on, Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor unto you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. So be it.